Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdom video. My name is Legendary and today I'm going to talk about my top 3 favorite marches beginning of 2021 in Rise of Kingdoms. The reason and the purpose of this video is to show you the 3 favorite marches that I have right now in Rise of Kingdoms, which I already mentioned at the beginning of the video, but I also want to explain why. I also want to give you details about these 3 marches or these 3 pairings that I'm going to talk about, because I use these commanders. They are all max legendary commanders that I have, and I use them either in Sunset Canyon, I use them either in Lost Canyon, Ark of Osiris, field battles, some of them even in rallies, and they give me a lot of results. So I want to detail, because some of you might be Cav, infantry or archer players, or some of you might just like marches that will give you a lot of benefits. You don't care if you're Cavs, infantry or archers, but you just want a lot of benefits and results from those marches. Or maybe you're a archer, Cav and infantry player and you just want something additional, either a Cav march or an archer march, or you just want an additional infantry march. So this video will definitely help you out in various ways. The first march that I'm going to mention about is definitely going to be related to Cavalry, as me being a Cav player, because I like Cavs, they are very aggressive, doing a lot of damage, especially on the field battles, mobility, slow and all that. We got Saladin as being the primary commander, and as a second in command is William. Now I also have a video that I've done a while ago. I'm gonna make sure to post a card on the top, and the video was related like which is the best archer, infantry and cavalry pairs in Rise of Kingdoms, but that video was done in 2020, so it's definitely a while ago. More commanders have been released since then, and now that William is out, I do have to say that he is an exceptional commander. I mean, Saladin primary and William as a second in command, both together as a pair, is pretty phenomenal. You can also use them in rallies, as crazy as it sounds. They're doing really great in rallies. You can also use them on field battles, definitely on field battles. You can also put this pair in your Sunset Canyon or Lost Canyon march. You just need to be very careful where exactly you're going to put them, because you want to make sure they're going to hit 2 targets. So they have to be somewhere in the back, because if they don't hit 2 targets, you won't benefit from the Scourge of the North from William, because that's what makes him so good in Sunset Canyon or Lost Canyon specific, and on the field battles as well. Once he does AoE, so how many Cav players do we have with AoE? Babers? Right, and everyone wants to use some legendaries late game. And he does hit up to 3 targets with his primary skill, and then you also get buff. So there's quite a lot of benefits for using him in the field. Saladin offers him the protection that he doesn't have, because William on his own is kind of a glass cannon type of commander. He goes down pretty fast. But if you have Saladin as a primary, he's definitely going to be very tanky, and Saladin also gives extra attack, so even more power for your William. Now my recommendation is that 5551 Saladin is really good, but if you're a super driven Cav player or you really want the benefits of Saladin, the highest benefits, then you do want to expertise him. The extra 300 damage is not so high, to tell you the truth, so it all depends how competitive as a player you are. My alt account has a 5551 Saladin and I'm very happy with it. If I get most captures from the Mightiest Governor, then yeah, I'm definitely gonna max Saladin, but to use universal capture on my alt account, no. On my main account I use him as rally, and as rally I do recommend to max kill him. You definitely want to do that, but for field battles or just general utilities, 5551 he's good to go. A lot of players do William as a 5511 because you do get only 10% attack if you do a 5111 William, and honestly any kind of bonuses at some point they do stack up, so do want to get a little bit of bonuses. But my recommendation is 5551 William. Now unfortunately I have to check his expertise so you can see what his third skill does when you max it out. It gives 20% Cav attack, and normal attacks have a chance to do another extra 800 damage. And if I'm correct, when this skill is at 1, that damage factor is 600, which a lot of players say, yeah, but for 200 damage factor, like I was mentioning, at some point these things stack up. And to do his third skill is not so expensive. Is probably gonna be around 100 and something sculptures compared to doing his 4th skill, which is gonna be around 310. So I think that it's still a pretty decent and good investment to get a 5551 William. To get him 5551, you need 380 sculptures plus 10 to summon him. Obviously, if you do him 55, if I'm correct, is about 190 plus 10 to summon him. So there you have it. It's not that expensive. But any kind of bit of extra damage that you can get, it will definitely help you out. And in the end, I do recommend to expertise him. Expertise commanders do have a value at some point, and they definitely pay out all those extra damages that you add up with each skill on upgrading him. And if you're asking, like, could you keep your Saladin as a 5551 and then max William, then yes, you can do that. To tell you the truth, if you have Saladin and then you have a William, I would be more inclined to max skill William over Saladin, because Saladin only does damage with his primary skill, but on the other hand, William, once you get his max skill, it will also do damage with this additional damage, plus if you're surrounding a target or not, and it also gives defense bonus to your allies when you hit 2 or 3 targets. So there's a lot more benefits from William overall than just from Saladin. For a very long time I was very much in favor of Saladin and Genghis. Now you're probably wondering why Saladin first, not Genghis first, because obviously Genghis is the one that has the skill talent tree and does more damage. The reason that I always put Saladin first is because of the hasty departure from his talent tree, and for Saladin and William, this is a wrong talent tree, but I'm definitely going to change it. Usually when you want to do Saladin and William, you should have this talent tree where you have the buckler shield, but with this talent tree is designed for Takeda, because I was using Saladin and Takeda and I forgot to change the talent tree when I switch to Saladin and William. Anyway, you can keep this talent tree if you want, but you want to make sure that you use some healing support skill if you're doing this in Heroic Anthem. So you have the 2 talent trees that I use on Saladin. I was mentioning about the hasty departure. Whenever you go in buildings or whenever you go in tiles, this is the reason I put Saladin first. It's not just because it gives me a lot of benefits from the support skill, that you get a lot of skill damage reduction, which obviously helps any march, either you have William or Genghis as a second, but this hasty departure just is your getaway car, sort of speaking, or you just want to reinforce a march, or you just want to get very fast into the arc, right? Arc of Osiris in the middle, or whichever place you want to go to. This is definitely going to help you to get there very fast. If you know how to maneuver this march going from tile to tile, city to city, you can get there pretty fast. So this is why I like to put Saladin first, because of this benefit. Now obviously there can be many other pairs, but I was just trying to mention, and the purpose of this video is to talk about my top 3 favorite. So this was the number 1, Saladin and William. Now going on the number 2, I want to talk about infantry, because I know there is a lot of infantry fans, right? I find Guan Yu to be the most exceptional infantry commander they have ever introduced in Rise of Kingdoms. I like him so much, you have no idea. And the second one to Guan Yu, I like Alexander. Now I know that a Guan Yu and Leonidas can kick the bums of a Guan Yu and Alexander, but that's not the reason I want them on the field. The sole purpose and the reason that I use Guan and Alexander is, 1, they have a lot of mobility together, and 2, they both gives me buff or debuffs, and they both have a lot of damage packed. When you have Guan Yu and Alexander and you have the skill talent tree primary, this 1700 nuke is really powerful. Not to mention that you can get 2000 being Guan Yu as a primary, and then you have additional damage 1000 or 1400. There's quite a lot of damage pack. When this guy starts to pop skills, it's pretty insane, all the red numbers that you see on the screen. So you can definitely do quite a lot of damage. And you have the silence from Guan Yu, which I already checked on his primary skill, but then you get the shields and the debuffs from Alexander, because you cannot know which march is going to get debuffed, because this is all random. The marches that will get debuffed, because Alexander has a wide area, so in a murder ball where there's a lot of marches, not just yours, a lot of other opponent marches can be debuffed. So you cannot know which friendly target you're gonna help, and that's why more Alexanders the better, because it's the same thing. You cannot know which ally march Alexander might help your march by debuffing your opponent or your march that you're hitting at that moment. So all these Alexanders, as many as possible on the field, it sounds crazy, but they are very, very helpful. And same is Guan Yu for the silence, because in a huge murder ball there's also a lot of buffs, a lot of AoE. So rage regeneration is not a problem for any march, but the crowd control, as this is what silence is, to tell you the truth, or slow march. So this is definitely very helpful. As many Guan Yus and Alexander as you can on a murder ball, or maybe when you go into the middle for Ark of Osiris in your Sunset Cannon, Lost Cannon march. I mean, these two commanders, they are probably the best infantry commanders that were ever introduced in Rise of Kingdoms, and I really like them. When Guan Yu came out, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't so keen about it. I wasn't so happy. Like, skill damage, infantry, like no defense. I mean, this guy is just gonna melt, and it's not really like that. It might be surprising for you how defensive infantry can be, even if you have the skill talent tree. Now obviously there is Harald that just came out and everyone is hyped about Harald, and I have no denial that he's very strong and I really like him. I mean, you're noticing that I max his primary skill and I'm leveling him up. I do have him planned at some point in the future that I'll probably expertise him because I like him too. But as utilities, Guan Yu and Alexander, I would say that it outweighs Harald. Harald is very good on doing damage, but himself doesn't do any buffs or debuffs on the field. He just packs damage. So it's definitely useful to use, but my recommendation is that as a number one pair or number one two commanders from infantry is Guan Yu and Alexander. And that's why he's my second favorite pair. Pretty high nuking and mobility and everything that you need, packed with Guan and Alexander. Now a very interesting march that people have been using since I was mentioning about Harald is Guan and Harald, but for rally only. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about them being used on the field as a march. I guess they are very squishy glass cannon and they probably really melt, like I was mentioning about, especially when up to 15 times, that's minus 75% defense. Now when that happens, I'm pretty sure that Guan and Harald dies just from the AoE, even if you don't target them. I'm guessing, and that's why people don't use him. But I heard that in rallies, Guan and Harald are demolishing, like really demolishing, like destroying anything. Now, personally, I didn't have the chance to experience that, and I hope I will this heroic Anthem. I'm gonna talk more about it if that's going to happen. And I also know that Guan and Leonidas is the most strongest damaging solo march that you can have on the field, that it beats a Guan and Alexander and it beats many other marches if you do a 1 versus 1. But what other benefits you get from Leonidas other than just defending your Guan Yu? There's no other benefits, right? You're just keeping your Guan Yu alive for longer, which it definitely helps, and it also helps in generating more rage with his second skill, so Guan Yu can silence more, can do more damage. But I need my Alexander on the field, so if you put Guan and Leonidas, then you need to put another march with Alexander. And that's when I done the video about the best 5 marchers that you can have for your murder ball, or to have the best of both worlds. So you can have buffs, debuffs, and so on. And I mentioned a lot about that. And I also done a video about the best accessories for those marchers. So I'm gonna make sure to post cards on the top about all this, just in case you want to keep track of the videos, and the videos that have a connection from one to another. Going on to the third march is going to be Archers for my Archers fan and whoever loves Archers. I was already looking at her, so you probably noticed that it's definitely Artemisia. As crazy as it sounds with all this Nebuchadnezzar and Cyrus that are about to come or came out and so on, I still like Artemisia. And who do you think as a second to Artemisia? Is it gonna be Ramses? Is it gonna be Tomiris? Maybe Nebuchadnezzar? No, it's Artemisia and YSG. And I definitely need to talk about it because I know that there's a lot of people, and they even told me, why don't you use Artemisia and Tomiris? Why do you keep using Artemisia and YSG? So I definitely need to explain all these facts. Now in Sunset Canyon and Lost Canyon and so on, I use Artemisia and Ramses. I've tried to go with Artemisia YSG Artemisia, but the problem is her self-silence. and it's kind of hurtful and it's damaging her quite a lot. So for example, if you get silence when you're about to do your skill, because obviously when he reaches her 80%, there is a chance that she will get silenced, right? And then Guan Yu silences her, because you can be on silence for 3 seconds and you get extra silence from Guan Yu. Your march can reach 50% or at least is on yellow before it does the first skill. So you're already losing a lot of troops capacity before you even do your first skill. So I didn't find it very helpful to keep putting her with YSG in Sunset Canyon. So what I use in Sunset Canyon right now is Artemisia with Ramses or Lost Canyon. And if you don't have Ramses and you have a max L Cid, Artemisia and L Cid can also work as the solo march. They're doing really great, especially on those solo infantry marches that people will send on you. It might surprise you, but you'll do great. For field battles and Ark of Osiris, I use Artemisia first with YSG as a second in command. Now, the whole point about it is to empower the 1800 nuke. And a lot of players said, but yeah, if you put Tomiris as a second in command, she's gonna debuff the target, and if you do get a lot of stacks, then you pretty much get the same benefits that YG gives you. But yes, it's true, but he's on 1 target. While Artemisia can hit up to 3 targets, so I prefer to have that 50% skill damage when I'm hitting 3 targets, not when I'm hitting just 1 target to have a little bit of skill damage increase. So I don't deny that Artemisia and Tomiris is powerful. They're definitely good, especially if you get the self-silence, then it's going to be more debuffs on that target, so it definitely helps. I agree with that. But my point, what I'm trying to do is to get the highest amount of AoE value that you can get. And there's no other commander that has 1800 nuke. I mean, there is Guan Yu that does 2000, so he's him. But that's with infantry. YSG is for archers, and you want to pair him with archers. I hope that makes sense. Because you could definitely do Guan Yu and YSG. It's just the results will not be so beneficial. Or not the same. While Artemisia and YSG, you do 1800 nuke up to 3 targets. And then you have YSG who hits up to 5 targets. Now how about that? And you have the defense talent tree to keep them safe. I enjoy this march more than you can think. Then the extra benefits that you can get from Artemisia is in your city garrison. What more do you want? A commander that can also defend your city and can also bring you a lot of AoE value. And I'm gonna make sure to post a picture to show you in a semi-fail Ceroli Crisis where I've done 4-point-something million with Artemisia and YSG, so that's how powerful they are, and the defense talent tree. I really wanted to put it as my #1 favorite march, but being a Cav player, that would have looked so bad, you have no idea. So I really want to put them as a third, and then I said, well, there's mostly infantry players into the game, so I have to put infantry as a second. And yeah, I put archers as a last, but honestly, for field battles, Artemisia and YSG is really my #1 favorite. But I had to put them as a third, like a chronological order, because I know some people just skip through the video. They don't really check everything that I say. They don't watch a 20 minutes video and so on. But yeah, I just really like her so much. The AoE value is crazy. And what I use my Ramses is with Tomiris. I probably don't get a whole lot of debuffs from the 4th skill, but I really like that at least I'll get some skill damage increase on the target. So Ramses and Tomiris is my second archer march that I use. Honestly, I have tried to put them separately, to put like Ramses and YSG and then put Artemisia and Tomiris, but I just don't like how it works. I don't like how fast my primary target or the target I'm hitting, it goes down, and in overall, I just don't like how it works. On the same time, Ramses and Tomiris can also serve as debuffing, right? Because you have defense reduction, you have with primary from Ramses, and then you have this one that has a chance to go in, and you have a lot of attack with Ramses, and you have a lot of attack with Tomiris as well. So I also think there is a lot of good synergies between Ramses and Tomiris to pair them together. And that's why I just prefer to keep Artemisia with YSG and just, you know, have a lot of damage pack. Because Artemisia, I was mentioning about her primary skill, but you also have this one. I hope you do find this video interesting, and I hope you did like my picks. If you managed to get to the end of the video, I really appreciate you, and I would really appreciate if you drop a like, and if I haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the channel so you can get notified. All of this help me out whenever I post videos. Even if you just click on the video, maybe the topic would not be in your interest, but it will definitely help me out. And as a second thing, if you manage to get to the end of the video, let's have a discussion in the comment section below. So let me know, what do you think about these 3 pairings? And I want you to mention about your one favorite pair that you have, or what is your number 1 favorite pair, and maybe say a little bit of a description, but not too long. Maybe a few lines like, why do you really like that march, or what makes that march so special for you? I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts and your expertise into the game, or what do you have to say about that. Until next time, this is your boy Legend Ronnie signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care. See you on the next one, and stay safe out there, my friends.